I'm happy to share some news. It is really the best kind of news. Earlier this week, our friend and colleague Matt Argersinger became a father.
Yeah.
His wife gave birth to a healthy baby boy, and I'm sure Matt did a great job standing next to her in the hospital while she did all the work. Everyone's doing well. We could not be happier, in part because all of us around this table and also behind the glass, we are all fathers, and so we all know just how sleep deprived Matt's going to be for the next year or so. So with that in mind, we've got a very special stocks on our radar this week. It is stocks for baby Argersinger. Not that Matt is not a great investor. He is. But we're going to offer up some ideas for this baby boy, and we'll be conservative in our timeline. Because look, you know what this kid has ahead of him? Many more decades of investing than we have. So we'll put together some ideas for when he turns 20 years old. So radar stocks for 2039. Steve Broido is not only going to suggest a stock of his own, but he's going to pick one for the baby to double down. So we're going to have a 5-stock portfolio. Nice. Ron, you're up first.
All right. If little baby Argersinger is going to be a snappy dresser like his dad, I've got to go back to Carter's. CRI, the leading manufacturer of children's clothing in the U.S., under names like Carter's and Oshkosh B'gosh. As I said, they are the dominant player here. They've performed well over multiple market cycles, 2.2% dividend yields, buying back a ton of stock. They're digesting the Toys R Us bankruptcy, and there are some China trade issues here. So the stock has suffered, but that makes it awfully cheap.
Steve, question about Carter's?
So I know Carter's stores. Is Carter's merchandise available outside of Carter's stores?
They make specialty collections for folks like Target, Walmart. They have a specialty collection for Amazon, so you can get them out there.
I'm glad you knew the answer to that.
Jason Moser.
I was thinking we probably have a recommendation for Maddie and Jean, too. They're going to have to set that coffee maker on stun, so why not buy a few extra shares of Starbucks? But for the young man, you know, I'm going to go back to my daughter's portfolio. The most recent addition for them, Santa brought them a few shares of Square, and I think that's not a bad pick here either. You know all about that business. They're building out the Square Financial Services side now as they've resubmitted their banking license application, and I think that's going to be a really neat part of the business once they build it out, and I'm really encouraged with the things that they're doing. They're opening up access to capital, new products and services for its customers. I think that'll help them build up a pretty enviable competitive position over time. So, you know, hey, listen, man, if you're looking for the ultra long term, that probably is a good addition.
Steve, question about Square?
So I hear the name Square all the time. I still don't really know what they do.
Oh,
help me.
Come on,
I know it's
Steve.
the little. I know that you swipe your credit card on the little thing. Is that it?
It's like a circle.
That is that is basically it. It is a hardware company that has developed a very robust ecosystem behind that hardware, and they help businesses deal with payments, inventory management, all sorts of things.
Andy Cross?
I'm going to stick with the advertising theme for young Mr. Argersinger here and go with Trade Desk, symbol TTD, one of the most impressive companies I've followed over the past year. They are the masters at programmatic trading, advertising, matching with clients and ad impressions. On average, per day, their clients, who are mostly advertising agencies, have exposure to almost 600 billion ad impressions per day. So they are really helping drive the automated programmatic trading, matching up buyers and platforms, publishers with ad impressions. And the growth has just been 50% a year for the past year or so. Very profitable, beautiful balance sheet, and it's founder run by Jeff Green, who's really impressed me. So I like Trade Desk, TTD, for the next 20 years, Chris.
Steve?
Does a company like Trade Desk work with people like Facebook? Because we talked about that earlier in the show.
No, so Facebook and Twitter, those are kind of closed, walled-off gardens. They're kind of all on their own. So really, Trade Desk is helping all the publishers and ad buyers out there outside of some of those walled gardens.
So that's 3 stocks for the portfolio. Steve, you get to essentially pick one to double down on, and then if you have one of your own, that would be great.
I think Square. I think I'm hearing the war on cash, and I think that'd be terrific.
Hey, now.
And in terms of my stock, I see the future. Ron Gross, it is round. It is filled with tires. It is Titan International.
Oh, my goodness.
Coming full circle.
Awesome.
I want to go back to something you mentioned, Jason.
TWI.
You mentioned Starbucks. I was looking at this, and I'm a happy Starbucks shareholder. The market cap of Starbucks is $85 billion, whereas Dunkin' Brands is $5 billion. So just in terms of growth opportunities, Matt Argersinger, a proud son of Massachusetts, I kind of feel like maybe that Dunkin' Brands would be, at least in terms of the next 20 years, a better growth opportunity, because
perhaps
it doesn't really have the footprint right now. Certainly not outside of New England.
Perhaps, but with all of his New England loyalties, I always see a Starbucks cup on his desk. So explain that.
That's fair.
He's going to love watching that game this weekend with his boy.
That's right.
That's going to be great.
That's right.
Hopefully as Jason said, hopefully he's got a lot of coffee.